Okay, seriously, I'm not claiming humans are the galaxy's scariest species or anything wild like that. Ambassador Zelex Thor, his mandibles clicking like a nervous tick, twitched his antenna in what his discreet people called a polite gesture. But, come on, any species that thinks jogging, yes, jogging, is just a chill pastime? That's got to mess with your head, right? It's psychologically unhinged. Oh, please. Lieutenant Rain Winters rolled her eyes so hard it was practically a workout, slouching in her chair with that effortless swagger that made Zelex's exoskeleton practically vibrate with unease. Jogging's just keeping the heart pumping, you know? Basic cardio. Wait till you see what we humans do when we're really cutting loose. Bet that'll blow your mind. The meeting room on the Galactic Confederation's ship, the Harmonious Exchange, was a total circus. Picture this, a chaotic mashup of furniture, environmental pods, and translation gadgets built to handle 27 different species' needs. It was like the Confederation tried so hard to be inclusive, but ended up with a room that looked like a psychedelic nightmare cooked up by a bunch of interior designers high on cosmic drugs and arguing about their gods. Can you even imagine? Admiral Kustek, this blob of glowing purple goo stuffed into a mech humans jokingly called a snot mech, let out a gurgle that the translator turned into. The human delegation is being deliberately obtuse. Their planet is a Class 9 death world, and there's a damn good reason for that label. His words practically oozed frustration. Hold up, that's a total overreaction. Commander Leo Walsh jumped in, spinning a stylus between his fingers so fast it was like a mini tornado, making half the room's delegates stare like hungry predators. Earth? It's cozy. Like homey vibes, you know? The Dravenid rep, who looked like a 6-foot-tall dust bunny with googly eyes, actually shivered. Your oceans are full of monsters that kill for fun. It squeaked, clearly horrified. Winters smirked, ready to defend her planet. Orcus? They're just playful. Sure, they toss seals 40 feet in the air for kicks before eating them, but it's not malicious. The dust bunny's voice dropped to a whisper, like it was spilling a dark secret. Yeah, but... Winters opened her mouth, then shut it. Okay, fine, you got me there. That's a fair point. The air in the room was thicker than the goopy breathing liquid in the Aquarian rep's tank. This was their 17th meeting in as many days, and they were still nowhere near sorting out the big problem. Humanity had been invited to join the Galactic Cool Kids Club because of their art, philosophy, and those peaceful radio signals they'd been beaming out for centuries. But when the Confederation showed up, they found out humans were basically space orcs who wrote poetry while living on a planet that seemed hell-bent on wiping them out daily. How does that even happen? Admiral Kustek's mech creaked as he shifted. Despite the alarming quirks of human biology and mindset, the Confederation is all in for peaceful integration. But we need containment protocols. It's non-negotiable. Containment? Walsh's chill vibe vanished faster than a comet. We've been over this. Earth isn't signing up for any quarantine nonsense. Not quarantine. Zelex Thor cut in, his translator scrambling to sound soothing. Safeguards. Like, say, limiting your military ships to defensive weapons only. Winters let out a laugh so sharp it made 3 species jump. You want us to ditch our offensive firepower? Are you kidding? There are, 7 hostile civilizations out there in this sector alone? 8. Actually, the Dravenid piped up, then froze as Winter's glare pinned it like a bug on a board. 8. Even better. She flashed a grin that showed way too many teeth, like a shark sizing up dinner. So, your grand plan is we join your fancy club, but leave ourselves wide open to the cosmic creeps lurking out there? Hard pass, dust mop. Lieutenant. Walsh snapped, but his lips were twitching, barely holding back a laugh. Things went downhill fast. The room erupted with complaints. Everything from humans' insane love for capsaicin, you eat pain for fun, to their creepy ability to regrow bones, you rebuild your skeleton. By the time the human team stomped back to their ship, the Tenacious Bastard, a name that took 4 rounds of translation tweaks to avoid sparking a galactic feud, Admiral Kustek's crew was still arguing. Were humans apex predators or just walking catastrophes? I need a drink. Winters flopped into a chair in the ship's lounge, sprawling like she owned the place. Something strong enough to melt at least 3 of those delegates on contact. Can we not joke about dissolving ambassadors? Captain Eliza Donovan sighed, striding in with her steel-gray hair pulled into a bun so tight it screamed authority. Her face said she'd definitely heard about the dust mop jab. Earth Central's blowing up my comms every 20 minutes, asking if we've avoided starting an interstellar war today. And Walsh asked, already at the dispenser, coaxing it to whip up something close to scotch, courtesy of the ship's AI. And I keep saying, not yet, which isn't exactly filling them with confidence. Donovan grabbed the glass Walsh handed her and sank into a chair across from Winters. This is serious, folks. The Confederation's tech could change everything, medicine, energy, you name it. We need this alliance. Winters leaned forward, her usual smirk gone. With all due respect, Captain, they're asking us to neuter our military while we're surrounded by potential enemies. That's not an alliance. It's a setup to be their protectorate, or worse, their sacrificial lamb. They're terrified of us, Walsh said quietly, his voice heavy. You've read the reports. Our bodies alone freak them out. We're stronger, faster, tougher. We can handle radiation that'd fry them, pressures that'd squash them, temperatures that'd turn them into popsicles or soup. And don't get me started on what they think of our entertainment. Winters snorted, nearly choking on her drink. Poor Zelex, Thor almost had a heart attack, 6 of them, when he saw our battle reenactments. He thought we were filming live wars. Donovan rubbed her temples, looking like she was one bad day from a migraine. I know, but we've got to find a middle ground here. Right then, the ship's AI, Arya, cut in. Captain, incoming transmission from Confederation High Command. Priority Alpha. Donovan's brow furrowed. That's weird. Put it through. The lounge's holographic display flared to life, showing Admiral Custek's gooey form pulsing like a stressed-out lava lamp. Captain Donovan. His translator spat out, urgency crackling through the words. We've got an emergency. The V-Cry's fleet has breached Confederation space. 3 outposts are already gone. Dark. Donovan shot to her feet. The V-Cry's? Weren't they locked down beyond the Cygnus arm? They were. Not anymore. Custek's usual diplomatic polish was nowhere to be found. Their fleet's headed for Outpost Sigma 9. They'll hit in 6 hours. There are 14,000 civilians there, mostly Elorians and Tiscree. The squishy ones and the bug guys, Winters muttered to Walsh, who gave a grim nod. What's this got to do with us, Admiral? Donovan asked, though her gut already knew the answer. Sigma 9 is 3 hours from your position. Our nearest battle group is 7 hours out. Custek's mech seemed to sag. Captain, I'm begging for your help. The 3 humans exchanged a look. You want us to take on the V-Cries? Donovan said, her voice steady but sharp. The same ones you called the living embodiment of evolutionary aggression just yesterday? Yes, Custek replied, his goo flashing colors that screamed panic. The same V-Cries who've wiped out 6 systems in 10 years, leaving no survivors. Yes. And you want the ship you insisted yesterday should have its weapons downgraded to defensive only? A long, awkward pause. The Confederation rescinds that request, Captain. Winter's grin was pure mischief. Oh, this was gonna be good. The tenacious bastard snapped out of FTL at the edge of the Sigma 9 system, its sensors screaming as they scanned for the enemy. Contact. Lieutenant Commander Beckett, the tactical officer, shouted. 7, no, 9 ships closing on Sigma 9. They match V-Cry's war barge profiles. On screen, Donovan barked. The bridge's view screen lit up with the enemy fleet. Massive, metallic crustaceans with hulls covered in creepy, overlapping plates. Word was, those plates were ripped from the exoskeletons of conquered species. Charming, right? Time to intercept? Donovan asked, her voice cool as ice. 22 minutes till they hit the outpost, Beckett replied. Open a channel to Sigma 9. Donovan ordered. The screen split, revealing an Elorian, its tentacle face writhing in panic. Human vessel, we're evacuating, but only 30% of our people are in shelters. Our defenses can't handle V-Cry's weapons. Got it. Keep evacuating. We'll deal with the fleet. Donovan cut the call and turned to her crew. Tactical assessment, now. Beckett frowned at his console. 9 ships, packing firepower like Confederation heavy cruisers. Their hulls are some organic metal mix that laughs at energy weapons. Kinetic hits are their weak spot, but you've got to slam them hard to crack those plates. So, we're outgunned and outnumbered, Walsh said from the ops console, summing it up with a grim smirk. Against normal enemies, sure, Beckett said, a sly grin creeping onto his face. But the V-Cries? They've never met humans. And we've got one trick they'll never see coming. Winters, at the helm, chimed in, her eyes gleaming. You mean the fact that we're completely nuts by galactic standards? Permission to fly like a human, Captain? Donovan's lips curled into a dangerous smile. Granted. Walsh, activate combat protocols Epsilon 7. Walsh's eyes went wide. Epsilon 7? That's Bat's hit insane. Exactly. Donovan settled into her command chair. Let's show these V-Cries why picking a fight with Deathworlders is a terrible idea. On the V-Cries command ship, their leader, Grok, sneered through his biochemical network. One ship? Pathetic. The Confederation was practically begging to be crushed. This vessel's unknown, his second-in-command warned. It's not in any Confederation records. Who cares? Grok snapped. Ready the harvesting beams. Their tech and flesh will be ours. The V-Cries lived by one rule. Consume, adapt, evolve. Every species they met was either enslaved or turned into spare parts for their tech. Defeat? Not in their vocabulary, just temporary hiccups. As the human ship closed in, Grok felt a weird twinge. Caution? He shook it off, disgusted by the weakness. The human ship suddenly surged, moving faster than physics should allow. Target locked. Grok's weapons officer hissed. Harvesting beam charging. Then everything went nuts. Crazy Ivan. Winters yelled, her hands dancing over the controls as she killed the main engines and maxed the thrusters, spinning the tenacious bastard like a top. The G-forces would have pulped most species, but the humans, strapped into their high-tech chairs and juiced with anti-blackout drugs, just grunted through it. The ship whipped 180 degrees, still hurtling forward, and aimed its rear weapons at the lead V-Cries barge. Fire tubes 1 through 4. Donovan roared. The tenacious bastard shook as 4 massive tungsten rods, kinetic penetrators moving at a fraction of light speed, blasted out. On the tactical display, the rods punched clean through the V-Cries ship, leaving 4 perfect holes. No explosion, just instant death as the ship's systems collapsed and air bled into space. Direct hit. Beckett hooped. 1 down, 8 to go. The V-Cries fleet scrambled, splitting into 2 groups to flank the humans. They're adapting, Walsh noted. They've never seen kinetics like these. Then let's give him something else to choke on. Winters said, her grin feral. Permission for Delta 9, Captain? Do it, Donovan nodded. Delta 9 was pure insanity, a theoretical stunt only humans would try, slingshotting around a star's gravity to hit speeds that'd rip most ships apart. But the tenacious bastard? Built by a species that laughed at Earth's killer storms and microbes. Winters aimed straight for Sigma 9 star, engines howling as she pushed them past their limits. Are we diving into the star? The comm officer squeaked, eyes huge. Not quite, Walsh said, straining against the G's. We're skimming the corona, using the star's gravity to slingshot us. Really damn fast in a direction they'll never expect. Winters finished. Hold on to your guts, folks. On the V-Cries ship, Grok was baffled. They're heading into the star's corona, his navigator reported. Suicide, Grok mused. Maybe they're nobler than the Confederation's cowards. No, his science officer cut in. They're using the star's gravity. This is unheard of. Grok watched the human ship skim the star's edge, shields blazing white-hot. It should have been shredded, but instead, it accelerated, rocketing toward his fleet at a speed their systems couldn't track. Evasive, he bellowed, too late. The tenacious bastard tore through the V-Cries formation, spitting missiles, primitive, but deadly. The V-Cries' fancy shields, built for energy weapons, were useless against raw kinetic force. 3 more ships went down, spewing debris and air. Grok felt something new. Fear, clawing at his network. 5 down, 4 to go? Beckett's voice was tight with excitement. Engines are overheating. We can't do that again without a cooldown. We won't need to, Donovan said coolly. They're regrouping. Captain, transmission from the V-Cries, the comm officer called. Show me. The screen flickered, revealing a creature like a nightmare bug-reptile mashup, its exoskeleton decked with trophies from fallen foes. Unknown vessel. Its translator droned. Your skill is surprising for Confederation allies. We're not Confederation, Donovan said, leaning forward. We're humans. From Earth. A pause. Humans. Unknown. Your tactics are crude but effective. The V-Cries offer surrender. Your biology and tech will live on in our collective. Winters snorted. Did this creep just try to assimilate us? Donovan raised a hand. Generous offer, but here's mine. Leave Confederation space now, or we turn your fleet into scrap and mail it back as a warning. The V-Cries hissed, untranslatable but furious. One ship against 4? You're doomed. Oh, really? Donovan nodded to Walsh, who tapped his console. In space, 8 debris pieces lit up with engine signatures. Meet our siren drones, stealth infiltration, recon, and engagement nodes. They're cozying up to your ships, including yours. Each has a payload to crack those shiny hulls. You bluff, the V-Cries snarled. Walsh, detonate the siren on their smallest ship, Donovan said sweetly. Walsh hit a button, and the V-Cries vessel split like a cracked egg, explosions tearing it apart. Bluff? Donovan asked, her smile deadly. Leave, or you're next. 3 hours later, the tenacious bastard stood guard over Sigma 9 as the last V-Cries ships limped away, beaten but alive. The bridge was calm now, the battle's rush fading. Transmission from Admiral Kustek, the comm officer said. On screen, Donovan, a bit roughed up but still in charge, nodded. Kustek's goo pulsed wildly. Captain, your telemetry and Sigma 9's report confirm you saved 14,000 lives. Just doing our job, Admiral. Donovan replied. A job no Confederation ship could have pulled off. Kustek's mech shifted. Your tactics were unorthodox. Winters coughed, muttering, understatement of the millennium. The V-Cries have never retreated, Kustek went on. This changes everything. Donovan leaned in. Admiral, this is what humans do. We protect our own. If you want us as allies, we'll protect yours, too. But on our terms, with our ships and weapons. A pause. The Security Council agrees. Your containment protocols are gone. Earth is invited as a full military ally. No restrictions. The bridge erupted in cheers. Also, Kustek added, the Council wants a joint training program. We've got a lot to learn from Deathworlders. Donovan grinned. We'd be honored. Maybe you can teach us some of that famous Confederation diplomacy. We're gonna need it. Indeed. Kustek's colors flickered, maybe amused. Word of your victory is spreading. Humans aren't just dangerous curiosities anymore. They're calling you protectors. Deathworlders make the best allies. Welcome to the stars, Captain, on your terms and ours. As the call ended, Winters leaned back. Well, damn, we blew up some ships, and now we're the galaxy's cool kids. It's not just the explosions, Walsh said. It's that we did it to save others. That's what they don't get about us. Donovan gazed at the stars. They see our strength and think it's all we are. They don't realize we're fierce because we care. We fight hardest for what we love. So what's next, Captain? Beckett asked. We show the galaxy what real friends look like. Donovan said, her smile fierce. And maybe teach, and the most dangerous folks in the room are the ones you want in your corner. 6 months later, the Confederation's HQ on Harmonious buzzed with Earth's first official delegation. No more side eyes, just respect. Ambassador Zelex Thor, now a big shot after Sigma 9, clicked his mandibles nervously. Ambassador Winters, the Council's ready for Earth's membership acceptance. Winters, now rocking diplomat creds, flashed a grin. Lead on, Zelex Thor, or should I say friend? His antenna wiggled, delighted. Friend. Though, I gotta say, you humans keep surprising us. How's that? Winters asked, strolling through the grand halls. Yesterday, I saw a human kid at the cultural exchange eating something with capsaicin levels that'd knock out a predator, all while schooling horrified Dravenid kids on ghost peppers. Winters laughed. Kids showing off. That's just character building where I'm from. In the council chamber, silence fell as Admiral Donovan, now sporting the Sigma 9 distinction, stood with Earth's team. The Supreme Counselor, a massive bird-like being, spread all 4 wings. The Confederation welcomes humanity. Where we saw danger, we now see loyalty. Where we feared power, we embrace protection. Donovan stepped up, her speech polished to avoid human slang. Earth thanks you. We're here as explorers, not conquerors, as protectors, not predators. Our history taught us strength without heart is just cruelty. and power without purpose is waste. She scanned the room. We grew up on a world that tested us every day. We fought it, sometimes each other. But what makes us human isn't our fists, it's our growth. You called Earth a death world, and you're not wrong. But surviving it made us relentless, creative, and protective of all life. She smiled. We say you don't know someone till you see how they treat the helpless. You saw us at Sigma 9, but that was us being nice. Mess with those we guard, and you'll see what Deathworlders can really do. We're proud to join as guardians, promising, what we love, we defend. What we claim, we keep. And our allies? Never alone. The room went quiet, then exploded in alien applause, led by the Elorians saved at Sigma 9. Winters sidled up to Kustek. Still think jogging's nuts? He chuckled through his translator. Ambassador, compared to your extreme sports, jogging's tame. Wait till you hear about ultramarathons, she teased. I'm scared to ask. As treaties were signed, Zelex Thor stood by Walsh. Your admiral speaks well, but she's holding something back. That's diplomacy. Walsh grinned. But what makes us unique? We're predators who'll die for ideals, fight for beliefs, not just survival. That's our edge. Terrifying and comforting. Zelex said. At a viewport, Donovan stared at the stars, Winters beside her. Penny for your thoughts, Admiral? My granddad, a Marine, said strength isn't about hitting hard. It's about what you'll hit for. Donovan said softly. Wise guy. Winters nodded. He was. Donovan turned to the celebration. They feared our destruction, but our danger makes us the galaxy's best protectors. Prediction or promise? Winters asked. Both. Donovan's smile was pure Deathworlder. Definitely both. The V-Cry's commander's posture stiffened, its compound eyes narrowing through the flickering view screen. You bluff, it hissed, its voice dripping with smug certainty, as if it had already won this cosmic chess game. Oh, really? Did this overgrown space bug think it could call our shots? Commander Walsh, Captain Eliza Donovan said, her voice smooth as silk but sharp as a blade. Please detonate the siren on their rearmost support vessel. You know, the little one. She leaned forward in her command chair, a glint of mischief in her eyes. Let's see how cocky they are after this. Walsh, his fingers hovering over the console like a pianist about to strike a dramatic chord, pressed a single button with a flourish. The bridge crew held their breath, eyes glued to the tactical display. In an instant, one of the V-Cry's ships, a sleek, menacing war barge, split apart like a piñata at a kid's party. Its hull plates peeled back as if sliced by an invisible scalpel, secondary explosions blooming like fiery flowers across its interior. The wreckage spun silently into the void, a stark reminder of human ingenuity. How's that for a bluff? Was that a bluff? Donovan asked, her tone so pleasantly polite it was almost mocking. She tilted her head, a predator sizing up her prey. Now, as I was saying, get your sorry fleet out of Confederation space immediately, or you'll become a very educational example for the rest of your species. Your call, bug guy. Her smile was all teeth, and the bridge crew had to stifle their grins. Oh, she was good. The V-Cry's commander's mandibles twitched, its silence louder than any words. The remaining ships hesitated, their formation faltering like a bully who'd just been punched in the nose. Finally, with what passed for a grudging nod in their alien body language, the V-Cry's fleet began to retreat, their once proud war barges slinking away at sublight speeds. They'd agreed to Donovan's terms, but you could practically feel the resentment radiating through the vacuum. Guess even space tyrants know when they're beat. 3 hours later, the tenacious bastard hung in orbit above Outpost Sigma 9 like a loyal guard dog, its sleek hull glinting under the distant starlight. The bridge was quieter now, the electric rush of battle fading into the steady hum of competence that defined Earth's finest officers. The crew moved with purpose, checking systems and monitoring the retreating V-Cries, but the air was lighter, tinged with the glow of victory. They'd done the impossible, stared down a fleet of galactic nightmares, and sent them packing. How many species could say that? Lieutenant Rain Winters, sprawled in her chair at the helm, let out a low whistle. Well, damn, Captain. We just sent those V-Cries running with their tails, or whatever they've got, between their legs. Her grin was infectious, and a few crew members chuckled, the tension melting away. Donovan, looking a bit roughed up but still radiating authority, ran a hand through her disheveled hair. Her uniform was creased, her face smudged with the grit of a hard-fought battle, but her eyes? They burned with the fire of a leader who'd just rewritten the galactic rulebook. "Let's not get cocky," she said, though her lips twitched with a suppressed smile. "We've still got work to do. Sigma 9's safe, but the Confederation's going to have a lot of questions. And boy, wouldn't that be a fun conversation?" "Captain," the comm officer, Ensign Patel, called out, his voice cutting through the low chatter. "Incoming transmission from Admiral Kustek. It's marked urgent." Donovan straightened, her exhaustion vanishing like a switch had been flipped. "On screen," she ordered, her tone crisp. "Here we go. What's the Confederation got to say about our little stunt?" The view screen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Kustek's gelatinous form, a shimmering mass of purple goo encased in his snot-mech. His colors pulsed wildly, shifting from deep indigo to frantic magenta, a sure sign he was rattled. "Captain Donovan," his translator boomed, the urgency practically vibrating through the bridge. "We've received your battle telemetry and the report from Outpost Sigma 9. Your actions, my stars, you've saved 14,000 lives. Do you realize what you've done?" Donovan allowed herself a small, proud smile, but kept her tone humble. "Just doing our job, Admiral. Those civilians needed us, and we weren't about to let them down." But inside, she was soaring. 14,000 lives. That's the kind of number that hits you right in the heart. Kustek's mech tilted, as if he were trying to process the sheer audacity of what he'd just heard. "Your job?" he gurgled, his colors flashing in disbelief. "No Confederation vessel could have accomplished this. Your tactics? Unconventional doesn't even begin to cover it." He sounded like he was torn between awe and terror, and who could blame him? Humans had just turned the V-Cry's unbeatable reputation into cosmic confetti. Winters coughed, muttering under her breath. "Unconventional? Try bats hit crazy." Her words were just loud enough to draw a few snickers from the crew, but Donovan shot her a look that said, "Not now, Lieutenant." Kustek pressed on, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid color shifts. "The V-Cries have never retreated. In all our records, they've either conquered or been contained, and even then, only temporarily. This is a seismic shift. You've changed the game, Captain." His goo pulsed so brightly it was almost blinding. "Can you imagine the shockwaves rippling through the Confederation right now?" Donovan leaned forward, her gaze steady but fierce. "Admiral, with all due respect, this is what humans do. We protect our own. And if you want us as allies, we'll protect yours too. But let's be clear, we do it our way, with our ships, our weapons, and our tactics. No compromises." Her voice carried the weight of a Deathworlder who'd just proven her point in the most spectacular way possible. "Try arguing with that." A long pause followed, Kustek's colors slowing as if he were digesting her words. "The Confederation Security Council has reviewed your actions," he said at last, his tone almost reverent. "And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. Your containment protocols? Consider them gone, formally withdrawn. Earth is invited to join the Confederation as a full military ally, with no restrictions on your defensive or offensive capabilities." His mech seemed to straighten, as if proud to deliver the news. The bridge erupted in cheers, the crew's voices bouncing off the walls. Winters pumped a fist in the air. "Hell yeah, we're in, and we're bringing the big guns." Even Walsh, usually the calm one, let out a whoop, his face split by a grin. The tenacious bastard had just carved its name into galactic history, and every soul on board felt it in their bones. "How's that for a first impression?" Kustek raised a mech limb, quieting the celebration. "There's more," he said, his colors flickering with what might have been excitement. "The Council requests that Earth consider a joint military training program with Confederation forces. We have much to learn from you Deathworlders. Your ingenuity, your resilience. What do you say?" His tone was almost pleading, like he couldn't wait to see what else humans could pull off. Donovan's smile widened, a mix of pride and amusement. "We'd be honored, Admiral. And maybe, just maybe, you can teach us some of that slick Confederation diplomacy. I'm thinking we're gonna need it after today's fireworks." Her crew chuckled, the mood buoyant. "A training program? Oh, the galaxy wasn't ready for human boot camp." "Indeed." Kustek's colors shifted to a warm gold, a sign of amusement, or as close as a gelatinous blob could get. A word of warning. Captain, news of your victory is spreading like wildfire through Confederation space. The perception of humans? It's evolved, to put it mildly. He paused, letting that sink in. Evolved? What did that mean? Donovan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Oh, care to elaborate, Admiral? What's the galaxy saying about us now? Kustek's goo shimmered, almost gleeful. Until today, many species saw humans as dangerous curiosities, fascinating, but terrifying. Now, after you defended Sigma-9 against an enemy we've failed to beat for centuries, they're calling you something new. Protectors. It seems the galaxy's waking up to the fact that Deathworlders make the most formidable allies. His mech leaned forward, as if sharing a secret. The Confederation welcomes Earth to the stars, Captain, on our terms, but also yours. What a day. The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in stunned silence for a heartbeat before Winters broke it with a laugh. Well, would you look at that? We blow up a few ships, save a bunch of lives, and suddenly we're the galaxy's new best friends. Who saw that coming? Her sarcasm was playful, but her eyes shone with pride. Walsh shook his head, still grinning. It's not just about the explosions, Rain. It's that we did it for others. That's asterisk what they don't get about us. We're not just muscle, we've got heart. His words hit home, and the crew nodded, feeling the weight of their actions. Saving 14,000 souls. That's the kind of thing you carry with you forever. Donovan gazed out the view screen at the stars beyond, her expression softening. They see our strength and think it defines us, she said, her voice quiet but resonant. They don't understand that we're strong because we care so damn much. We fight hardest for what we love. Our people, our allies, our home. That's what makes us human. Her words hung in the air, a rallying cry for every soul on the bridge. Who could argue with that kind of passion? Lieutenant Commander Beckett, still a tactical, looked up. So what's next, Captain? We've got the galaxy's attention. Where do we go from here? His eyes sparkled with anticipation, like a kid waiting for the next adventure. Donovan turned, her smile fierce and full of promise. Next, we show the galaxy what real friendship looks like. We teach them that the most dangerous species in the room is the one you want watching your back. And maybe, just maybe, we'll remind them that humans don't just survive, we thrive. Who's ready to make some more history? Her crew roared in response, their voices a defiant chorus against the vastness of space. As the tenacious bastard stood sentinel over Sigma-9, its crew buzzing with the thrill of victory, one thing was clear. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and they weren't here to play nice. They were here to protect, to inspire, and to leave a mark that would echo through the stars for centuries. What could possibly top a day like this? The view screen flickered, and there he was, Admiral Kustek, a shimmering blob of purple goo pulsing with colors so wild the translator didn't even try to keep up. Captain Donovan, his voice boomed, practically vibrating with awe. The Confederation's got your battle telemetry and Sigma-9's report. You saved 14,000 lives. Can you even grasp the magnitude of that? His mech quivered, like he was barely holding it together. 14,000 souls. Holy stars, what a number. Donovan, her uniform creased and her face smudged from the chaos of battle, stood tall, her eyes gleaming with quiet pride. Just doing our job, Admiral, she said, her voice steady but warm, like she was shrugging off a compliment at a family barbecue. But inside, her heart was soaring, saving thousands. That's the kind of thing that makes your chest ache with purpose. Kustek's goo flashed brighter, his mech shifting like he was trying to wrap his mind around it. Your job? He gurgled, sounding downright flabbergasted. No Confederation ship could have pulled this off. Your defensive tactics, unconventional? That's putting it mildly. His colors swirled like a cosmic light show, screaming respect and maybe a touch of fear. Who wouldn't be a little spooked by humans after that stunt? Lieutenant Rain Winters coughed, muttering under her breath. Understatement of the century. Her words were just loud enough to spark a ripple of grins across the bridge. Oh, Rain, always with the zingers. The crew bit back laughs, but Donovan shot her a look, half stern, half amused. Not now, Lieutenant. Kustek pressed on, his translator racing to match his fervor. The V cries have never retreated. In all our records, centuries of data, they've either crushed their enemies or been temporarily contained, and even then, at great cost. This is a game changer. You've rewritten history, Captain. His goo pulsed so intensely it was like a heartbeat on the screen. Can you imagine the shock rippling through the galaxy right now? Donovan leaned forward, her gaze sharp and unyielding. Admiral, with all due respect, this is what humans do. We protect our own, no questions asked. And if you want us as allies, we'll protect your people too. Fiercely, relentlessly. But we do it our way. With our ships, our weapons, and our tactics. No compromises. Her voice was a firestorm, the kind that could rally a crew or silence a room. Try arguing with that kind of conviction. A long pause hung in the air, Kustek's colors slowing as if he were digesting her words like a five-course meal. The Confederation Security Council has reviewed your actions, he said at last, his tone almost reverent. And the results? Undeniable. Your containment protocols, those ridiculous restrictions, they're gone, formally withdrawn. Earth is invited to join the Confederation as a full military ally, with no limits on your defensive or offensive capabilities. His mech seemed to puff up, proud to deliver the news. Full allies? Hell yeah. The bridge exploded in cheers, the crew's voices bouncing off the walls like a victory anthem. Take that, Galaxy. Winters hooped, pumping a fist in the air. Even Commander Walsh, usually the cool-headed one, let out a triumphant shout, his face split by a grin that said, "We did it." The tenacious bastard had just carved its name into the stars, and every soul on board felt the weight of that glory. Who could have dreamed this up? Kustek raised a mech limb, quieting the celebration. "There's more," he said, his colors flickering with what might have been excitement. The Council requests that Earth consider a joint military training program with Confederation forces. We've got so much to learn from you Deathworlders. Your grit, your ingenuity. What do you say, Captain? His tone was almost pleading, like he was dying to see what other tricks humans had up their sleeves. A training program? Oh, the galaxy wasn't ready for that. Donovan's smile widened, a perfect blend of pride and mischief. We'd be honored, Admiral. And maybe, just maybe, you can teach us some of that slick Confederation diplomacy. I'm betting we're gonna need it after today's fireworks. Her crew chuckled, the mood as bright as a supernova. Diplomacy lessons? Good luck keeping up with human sass. Indeed. Kustek's colors shifted to a warm gold, a sign of amusement, or as close as a gooey blob could get. A word of warning. Captain, news of your victory is spreading like wildfire through Confederation space. The perception of humans? It's shifted, to say the least. He paused, letting that sink in. Shifted? What the heck did that mean? Donovan raised an eyebrow, her curiosity piqued. Oh, care to spill the details, Admiral? What's the galaxy whispering about us now? Her tone was playful, but her eyes were sharp, ready for anything. Kustek's goo shimmered, almost gleeful. Until today, most species saw humans as dangerous curiosities. Fascinating, sure, but terrifying. Now, after you defended Sigma 9 against an enemy we've failed to beat for centuries, they're calling you something new. Protectors. The galaxy's waking up to the truth. Deathworlders make the most badass allies. His mech leaned forward, like he was sharing the juiciest gossip. The Confederation welcomes Earth to the stars, Captain, on our terms, but also yours. What a moment. Protectors? Damn, that had a nice ring to it. The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge buzzing with energy. Winters leaned back in her chair, a satisfied smirk plastered across her face. Well, would you look at that? We blow up a few ships, save a ton of lives, and suddenly we're the cool kids at the galactic lunch table. Who saw that coming? Her laugh was infectious, and the crew couldn't help but join in. Cool kids? Hell, they were the galaxy's new superstars. Walsh snorted, shaking his head. It's not just about the explosions, Rain. It's that we did it to save others. Asterisk, that's asterisk what they don't get about humans. We're not just muscle, we've got heart, and it beats loud. His words hit like a drum, and the crew nodded, feeling the truth of it. Protecting 14,000 souls. That's the kind of legacy you carry forever. Donovan turned to the view screen, her gaze lost in the endless stars beyond. They see our strength and think it's all we are, she said, her voice soft but heavy with meaning. They don't realize we're strong because we care so damn much. We fight hardest for what we love. Our people, our allies, our home. That's what makes us human. Her words were a rallying cry, a spark that lit up every heart on the bridge. Who could hear that and not feel ready to take on the universe? Lieutenant Commander Beckett, still at tactical, looked up, his eyes bright with anticipation. So what's next, Captain? We've got the galaxy's attention. Where do we take this show? His voice was eager, like he was ready to jump into the next adventure right then and there. What was next for a crew like this? Donovan's smile was fierce, full of promise. Next, we show the galaxy what real friendship looks like. We teach them that the most dangerous species in the room is the one you want watching your back. And maybe, just maybe, we'll remind them that humans don't just survive. We thrive. Who's ready to make more history? Her crew roared in response, their voices a defiant chorus against the vastness of space. History? They were just getting started. 6 months later, the Galactic Confederation's headquarters on the neutral planet Harmonious was a whirlwind of excitement, hosting Earth's first official diplomatic delegation. Gone was the nervous side-eye from before. Now, it was all respect, with a side of awe. Can you believe how far they'd come? Ambassador Zelex Thor, now a big shot after the Sigma-9 incident. Yep, it had its own name now, clicked his mandibles nervously as he approached the human team. Ambassador Winters, he greeted, his translator dripping with warmth that would have been unthinkable half a year ago. The Council's ready for Earth's formal membership acceptance. Shall we? Rain Winters, now rocking diplomatic credentials instead of her lieutenant stripes, flashed a grin that could light up a nebula. Lead the way, Zelex Thor, or should I say friend? Her wink was pure human charm, and the Tiscree's antenna twitched in delight, a gesture humans now knew meant he was thrilled. Friend? Oh, that word carried weight now. Friend, Zelex agreed, his voice practically glowing. Though, I must confess, even after months studying your species, you humans keep us on our toes. How do you do it? His mandibles clicked with curiosity as they strolled through the grand, shimmering hallways of the Confederation building, all crystal arches and soft lights. Winters tilted her head, intrigued. Oh, what's got you so surprised this time? Her tone was playful, but she was genuinely curious. What had humans done now? Zelex's antenna wiggled. Just yesterday, I saw a human child at the cultural exchange. This tiny creature, barely developed, was eating a substance our scientists clocked as having capsaicin levels that'd knock out most predators. And get this, she was explaining ghost peppers to horrified Dravenid kids, like it was no big deal. Is that normal? His translator sounded equal parts fascinated and alarmed. Ghost peppers? Yikes. Winters burst out laughing, the sound echoing down the hall. Kids always showing off. Where I'm from, that's just building character. Gotta start him young, you know? Her grin was pure mischief, and Zelex's mech seemed to shake with what might have been a chuckle. Character? Only humans would call that character. As they stepped into the council chambers, a hush fell over the room, the air thick with anticipation. Over 200 species representatives turned their eyes, or whatever they used to see, toward the center, where Captain, now Admiral, Donovan stood with Earth's political delegation. Her uniform was crisp, adorned with the shiny new Sigma-9 distinction, a badge created just to honor Earth's first official act as Confederation allies. Can you imagine the pride swelling in her chest right then? The Supreme Counselor, a towering avian being whose species had founded the Confederation eons ago, spread all four wings in a grand gesture of welcome. The Galactic Confederation recognizes Earth and welcomes humanity to the stars, the translator boomed, its voice resonating like a sacred vow. Where we once saw danger, we now see dedication. Where we feared strength, we now embrace protection. The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Protection? That was humanity's new legacy. Donovan stepped forward, her posture radiating confidence as she prepared to deliver Earth's response. A speech polished through 17 revisions to strip out what advisors called excessive human idioms. No yeehaws here. The people of Earth thank you for this welcome, she began, her voice clear and strong. We come to the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers, not as predators, but as protectors. Our history, long and often painful, taught us that strength without compassion is just brutality, and power without purpose is nothing but waste. Her words were like a beacon, lighting up the chamber. Who could resist that kind of conviction? She paused, her eyes sweeping the room, locking gazes with alien faces of every shape and hue. Humanity evolved on a world that challenged us every single day to be stronger, faster, more resilient. We fought our planet, and yeah, sometimes we fought each other. But what truly defines us? It's not our fists, it's our growth. The chamber was silent, every translator humming to catch the nuances of her speech. Growth? That was the human spark. You called Earth a death world, and you weren't wrong, she continued, her voice rising with passion. But what you missed is that surviving a death world doesn't just make you dangerous. It makes you tenacious, innovative, and fiercely protective of life in all its forms. We humans have a saying, you never truly know someone until you see how they treat those who can't do anything for them. The Confederation saw us at our best when we defended Sigma-9, but I promise you, that was just humans playing nice. A ripple of murmurs spread through the room, a mix of concern and admiration. Playing nice? Oh, the galaxy wasn't ready for the real deal. Donovan's smile was warm but edged with steel. If you think we were dangerous when we were being polite, just imagine what happens when someone threatens those we've sworn to protect. Earth is proud to join the Confederation, not just as allies, but as guardians. The Deathworlders are here, and we bring not just our strength, but our solemn vow. What we love, we defend. What we claim, we keep. And those who stand with us, they'll never stand alone. Her voice rang out, a challenge and a promise, and the room held its breath. Guardians? Hell yes. A moment of stunned silence followed. Then, starting with the Elorian delegation, whose people owed their lives to Sigma-9, a wave of sound erupted, a chaotic symphony of alien applause that needed no translation. Clapping, chirping, stomping, it was a galactic standing ovation. Winters sidled up to Admiral Kustek, whose mech was practically vibrating with emotion. So, she said, all casual charm, still think jogging's psychologically disturbing? Kustek's translator let out a sound that might have been a chuckle. Lieutenant, sorry, Ambassador Winters. I've been studying your recreational activities, and I must say, compared to your extreme sports, jogging's downright tame. His goof flashed with humor, a rare sight. Extreme sports? Oh, he had no idea. Wait till you hear about ultramarathons. Winters teased, winking. 100-mile runs for fun. I'm almost afraid to ask, Kustek admitted, his mech shaking. Smart move, or, well, smart gelatinous mass of semi-transparent purple tissue. Winters quipped, grinning. That's surprisingly accurate. Kustek replied, clearly delighted. As treaties were signed and pleasantries exchanged, Ambassador Zelex Thor stood beside Commander Walsh, who watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. Your admiral speaks well, Zelex said, his mandibles clicking softly. But I sense she left something unsaid. What's she holding back? Walsh smiled, a knowing glint in his eye. She left a lot unsaid, Ambassador. That's diplomacy for you. His chuckle was warm, but his words carried weight. Diplomacy? More like strategic restraint. Indeed, Zelex's antenna twitched. But the most important thing she didn't say? It's what makes your species truly unique among the stars. In all our records, thousands of species, millions of years, we've never met a race that evolved as apex predators yet developed such a capacity for self-sacrifice. You'll die for ideals, fight for concepts, not just survival. How is that possible? His voice was a mix of awe and wonder. Self-sacrifice? That was humanity's secret weapon. Walsh considered this, his brow furrowing. I never thought of that as unusual, he admitted, a little stunned. It's just who we are. It's not just unusual, Commander. It's unique. And, if I may say, it's both terrifying and reassuring in equal measure. Zelex's mandibles clicked, his respect palpable. Terrifying and reassuring? That was humanity in a nutshell. As the ceremony wrapped up, marking the dawn of a new era for human Confederation relations, Admiral Donovan found herself at a viewport, staring out at the stars, glittering jewels that now held not just dreams but duty. Winters joined her, following her gaze. Penny for your thoughts, Admiral? She asked, her voice soft but curious. What was going through her mind after all this? Donovan's lips curved in a wistful smile. I was just thinking about something my grandfather used to say, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. He was a Marine, old school, tough as nails. He told me once that the true measure of strength isn't how hard you can hit, but what you're willing to hit hard for. Her words carried the weight of generations, a truth passed down through time. Strength? It was all about heart. Sounds like a wise man, Winters said, nodding, her own eyes softening. Wise. That was an understatement. He was. Donovan turned from the viewport, her gaze sweeping the celebration behind them. Aliens and humans mingling, a new chapter unfolding. The Confederation feared us because they saw our potential for destruction. They never understood that the same qualities that make us dangerous are what make us the best damn protectors this galaxy's ever seen. Her voice was fierce, a declaration of purpose. Protectors? Hell, they were born for this. Winters raised an eyebrow, a playful challenge in her grin. Is that a prediction or a promise, Admiral? Her tone was light, but her eyes said she already knew the answer. Donovan's smile was pure Deathworlder, blazing with the fire of someone who'd found her calling among the stars. Both, Ambassador. Definitely both. Her words echoed like a vow, a spark that would light up the galaxy for years to come. Both? Oh, the stars had better brace themselves. Oh, the sheer audacity and heart of humanity in this story ignite something fierce in me. The way these characters, Donovan, Winters, Walsh, embrace their Deathworlder roots to protect others screams a truth I hold dear. Strength isn't just muscle. It's the fire in your soul to stand up for what matters. Their lifestyle, forged on a planet that tried to kill them daily, isn't just survival. It's a vibrant, defiant celebration of resilience. I'm in awe of how they channel that raw power into self-sacrifice, fighting not for glory but for ideals, for strangers, for life itself. Isn't that what makes us human? Socially, this story slams home a lesson we need now more than ever. Unity through compassion, not control. The Confederation's initial fear of humans, wanting to cage their strength, mirrors our world's tendency to mistrust what's different. But when humans prove they're protectors, not predators, it's a gut-punch reminder. Judge people by their actions, not your fears. I'm frustrated by how often we let prejudice blind us, yet inspired by the galaxy's shift to embrace humanity as allies. It's a call to action. Let's build bridges, not walls, and celebrate the unique strengths each of us brings. What stirs me most? The idea that our capacity to care deeply fuels our fiercest fights. Donovan's grandfather's words, "Strength is what you hit hard for," resonate like a battle cry. I believe we're at our best when we protect the vulnerable, when we love so hard it makes us unbreakable. This story's not just sci-fi, it's a mirror to our potential. Let's live boldly, love fiercely, and be the protectors our world needs.